Very honorable, dynamic defense minister of our country, Mr. Manohar Parrikarji. Let's have a huge round of applause, please. Welcome, sir. A former CM of Goa. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time and being here with us today. I would request the speakers for this session to please join us on the stage. Mr. Madhukar Raoji, can we please have you on the stage? Sir Murlidhar Raoji, National General Secretary, Bharatiya Janata Party. Could we also have Mr. Rahul Chaudhary ji on the stage, CEO, Tata Power SED and Chairman, Defence Innovators and Industry Association. Mr. Pratyush Kumar ji, President, Boeing India. Mr. D.S. Rawat ji, could we please have you on the stage, our Secretary General, ASSOCHAM. And Major General I would request Mr. D.S. Raut to please present a bouquet to our Honorable Defence Minister, Mr. Manohar Parrikarji. Welcome, sir. I would request Baba Kapoorji to please present a bouquet to Shri Manohar Parrikarji. I would request Mr. Bharat Bhushan to please present a memento as a token of appreciation from our side to Shri Manohar Parrikarji. Welcome, sir. I would request Ravi Pradharji to please present a bouquet to Murlidhar Raoji.
I am already done. Okay, now come here. Right. Now it is already done.
I will request Sri Deepak Rath, our CEO and Group Editor, Bharat Niti, to please come forward and address the audience. Let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Deepak Rathji. Welcome, sir.
Esteemed Chief Guest of today's evening, Honorable Defence Minister Shri Parrikarji, हमारे प्रिय मुरलीधर राव जी, other guests in the dais. Actually, I just wanted to take 2 minutes because Sri Parrikarji has got very few minutes, so we all are eager to listen from him. Uday India is a weekly magazine published from Delhi both in English and Hindi language since 2009, and I should say, besides publishing a nationalistic weekly, we are also involved in organizing many seminars and national conferences that is of national importance. And you all will happy to know that last year also at Vigyan Bhavan, Uday India has organized a huge national conclave on Make in India, and another one was on role of technology and internal security. And like any other subject, I thank you all. I thank all the participants, the manufacturers, the industry, ASSOCHAM, and all the organizers. I thank you all, and I welcome you all on behalf of Uday India, Bharat Niti, and ASSOCHAM. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would request Sri D.S. Rawat ji, General Secretary, ASSOCHAM, to please come forward and deliver the opening remark. Welcome, sir.
Most respected Sri Manohar Parrikarji, Honorable Minister for Defence, Government of India, Sri Murlidhar Raoji, other distinguished guests on the dais and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen, I feel greatly honored in extending a warm welcome to Raksha Mantri ji at this day-long conference. We are extremely grateful to you, Honorable Minister, sir, for making it convenient to be with us this evening despite such a heavy pressure on your time. I would just like to say a few words, sir, that self-reliance in defense production, the unfinished agenda was released in 2014 after the induction of the new government. Based on the industry survey, we had made very specific recommendations for boosting the indigenization of defense equipment. We are delighted to state that the government has paid attention to the feedback from industry and addressed a number of issues we had raised. We are confident that the balance will be addressed soon. I would just like to also inform this August House that ASSOCHAM had organized during the last 2 years more than 6 interactive big conferences in different parts of the country, including in Goa, and the recommendations that were submitted to the Government of India, and I'm extremely happy and would like to express our grateful thanks, especially to Honorable Minister, that many of them have been accepted by the government, and I'm sure the rest will also be considered favorably in due course. The most important initiative of the government is the Make in India campaign, which brings under one umbrella the various initiatives taken or proposed to boost domestic manufacturing. Its success in the defense sector will largely depend on the extent to which the government can leverage its massive spending program to promote domestic manufacturing. The government has taken several policy initiatives to lower entry barriers and improve the ease of doing business in defense manufacturing. The regime and procedure for grant of an industrial license for manufacturing defense equipment has been significantly liberalized and speeded up. Clarifications have been issued to facilitate the implementation of offset obligation. An export strategy has to be announced, and the export of NOCs are issued online. Further, the FDI policy has also been liberalized. Honorable Minister, sir, overall the industry has appreciated the measures taken by the government. For instance, the industry welcomed the proposal to identify the select India private sector defense manufacturers as strategic partners and believe that the new acquisition category of indigenization designed, developed, and manufactured will be a game changer for the future and will foster innovation and R&D. There are some words of caution though. Some OEMs are apprehensive about achieving the indigenous content of 60%. Most are struggling to achieve the existing 30% and feel that this needs to be reduced or at least calibrated. There is more that can be done through simplification of regulations and creation of an A&D ecosystem to accelerate growth. Infrastructure and skill development are critical for achieving self-reliance, and the government should continue encouraging cluster. The private sector should be treated as an equal partner, and a collaborative partnership approach should be followed with the supplier. The signs from the government are refreshingly positive. There is a palpable change in mindset in the government in general and in the MOD in particular. Enthused by this, an increasing number, if Indian private sector companies are looking for defense production and the local ecosystem is ripe for foreign partnership. OEMs have also responded with enthusiasm and expressed their commitment to Make in India. We are confident that this campaign will act as a significant enabler and catalyze the manufacturing sector to the next level of growth. With these words, I would once again like to express our gratitude to the Honorable Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, I would request Mr. Pratyush Kumar to please come forward and address the audience. Let's have a huge round of applause for sir, please. Welcome, sir.
Honorable Raksha Mantri ji, Honorable Madhusur Rao ji, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you, ASSOCHAM, for the opportunity to talk to you from this very important platform this afternoon. Much has been discussed today, and just session before this, a couple of very important points were brought out, which I want to echo for the sake of importance of those points. One point which has been talked about today throughout the day was the role of offset to catapult Indian industry into global supply chain. Indeed, offset is a very important catalyst, and it has helped many of our small, medium industries, in fact, even large industries, to get into global supply chain for defense manufacturing. There are several examples, none greater than the one that we have in Hyderabad, where we formed a joint venture with Tatas to make fuselage for world's most advanced helicopter, Apache. Now, it's important to keep in mind that offset was used as a catalyst and not as an entire business case. Because if you relied on offset for the entire business case, we wouldn't be doing this project. We used offset to pull the project in and then put the entire global volume to make it sustainable and for the long run. Now, why is that possible? It's possible because we worked with a partner, in this case, Tatas, to make sure they're globally competitive. What does it mean? It means their quality is better or equal to our suppliers anywhere in the world, that they deliver on time every single time, and they're cost competitive. That is the mantra for us to win. Offset should not be treated as an entitlement. It should be treated as an opportunity to build our capability and capacity to become part of the global supply chain. And so far, that has worked wonderfully for us. There are many examples of good use of offsets to do that. In fact, we have about 24 small, medium industries who have performed really well for us. In fact, this year, of the 12 Supplier of the Year awards in Boeing system, and by the way, there are only 12 Supplier of the Year out of 20,000. All those 20,000 include companies like GE, Raytheon, Honeywell. 2 were from India. 2 out of 20,000 from India, and both were small, medium industry. So that tells you the potential of SME in the country, and if they have the right mindset, what we can achieve. I would like to talk about one thing, in the spirit of improving the ease of doing business. Offset management, my good friend Mr. Kanodia in the previous session suggested that why can't we do offset through electronic methods? Why does it have to be a paper-based system? In a day when we're talking about a cashless system, why can't we manage offset in a paperless system? I think world over, people are able to do that. For sake of transparency and efficiency, I think we should be able to move in that direction, and that will really help improve the efficiency of managing offsets and actually deliver the benefits to the industry in a big manner. I also heard a lot about the topical issue of the new administration in the United States and its posture towards making in America, and what does it mean for Make in India. Frankly, we have delved a lot about it. From our company point of view, Make in India is a win-win proposition. We have to treat this as a win-win proposition. It's not a zero-sum game. We can achieve the objectives for India and achieve the objectives of the new administration by doing this the right way. How do we do that? You might have noticed that even before he's taken office, he's tweeted about defense companies in America, including our own. And his focus is on cost. It's about affordability. So how do we use Make in India to reduce cost for procurement of US defense services? We're working on that every day. And that is a win proposition for both countries. Second thing he talked about is jobs in America. I think there's a way to create jobs in America and create jobs in India through Make in India, which is a win-win proposition. When we talk about creating, under Make in India, creating a brand new futuristic line for modern state-of-the-art fighter aircraft, we create jobs in both countries. We leverage the technology we have in the US to create jobs here, and we have opportunity to sustain jobs there. So we have to couch this opportunity in a win-win proposition as opposed to zero-sum game. Now, I'll mention two other points in the spirit of keeping on time. The two other points I would say, what does it take to win? We talked a lot about, yes, I got a note about 2 minutes, so 2 minutes, okay. We talked a lot about, why can't we replicate the success of the automotive industry in defense? And the answer is, absolutely we can. But we have to keep in mind, the requirements for defense and aerospace is very different than automotive. Automotive, the gold standards is Six Sigma, which by definition accepts certain level of defects. Aerospace manufacturing is zero defect environment. It requires significantly different of a skill set. We have to invest to create skilled workforce, including the frontline workforce, to get them ready for that. Our personal experience has been where we invested in skilling, it has paid great dividends. We have a factory with Tatas in Nagpur, Tal, where we manufacture the most advanced floor beams composite beams for 787 aircraft. We struggled on that for the first 3 years because we didn't invest enough in skills. Then we over-invested. We took the people in Nagpur to Seattle, brought the Seattle people here. Because of the investment, today the quality from that factory is better than our supplier in Southern California. And that has allowed us to place more orders in Nagpur. So I can go on and on about the importance of skill, but this is the critical missing ingredient to help us become globally competitive, to make sure that the business we earn through offsets, we can keep for the long term and create a win-win proposition. With those, I'll conclude my remarks in the interest of time. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Rahul Chaudhary, CEO, Tata Power, SED, and Chairman, Defence Innovators and Industry Association, to please address the audience. Welcome, sir.
Honorable Raksha Mantri, Muralidhar ji, friends, it's indeed an honor to be here and kind of bring in a perspective from somebody who has been in this industry for 20 years plus now. 2001 when I got involved in Indian defense industry after coming back from abroad, came in for telecom. My friend Pratyush made a fantastic point. If we have to sustain and create a defense industrial base, it has to be on global competitiveness terms. There is no entitlement within Make in India. The entitlement to create in India is important, and I think IDDM has been the first policy initiative to move us in that direction. However, there is one thing which is also different about defense industry. This is an industry which has natural barriers of controls and national competitiveness built into it. And if those dimensions start to apply, then you can't buy a technology for money or love. एक हिंदी कहावत है, बिना मरे स्वर्ग नहीं मिलता. सब्सटेंटिव सेल्फ रिलायंस के लिए हमें अपने पैरों पे ही खड़े होना पड़ेगा. अगर हम उसके लिए तैयार नहीं होते हैं और उसके लिए दोनों को काम करना पड़ेगा. हम ये भी नहीं कर सकते हैं कि our armed forces do not get their competitive advantage in the battlefield, and we cannot have a situation where we continually are trying to find a Google Plus specifications to be met. Can we do that? There are procedures, there are issues, and in any defense industry, there is one thing very clear. It's a monopoly. Government is the market, and the government is the market maker. Therefore, this balance has to be created in those policies. The market piece, and there are numbers that Indian defense indigenous numbers would be about $100 billion between 2017 to 2027 in a 10-year time frame, including public sector and private sector, Indian. And it depends upon certain assumptions you take on the GDP numbers and the growth rate and the percentage of GDP budgets. But somewhere around that. That's almost like the global market. It's a large number. And we continually hear that Indian industry is getting now a lion's share. But unfortunately, when I look back and look at my peers, look at myself, we are not getting orders. There were two standard ways of procuring. One was from the foreigners and offsets. Some of it is trickling down into the industry and creating the defense industrial base here. And the second one was the DRDO projects, which created a far bigger ecosystem in this country. Akashas, Pinakas, and many other programs who have created 200, 300, 400 downstream industries. We are now finding a situation where we are not, even these orders are not moving forward. They are still waiting in the pipelines. Now, if the industry which has been created and the capability which has been created is not nurtured, it will dry up. Our cost of re-entering is going to be high. So one request is move the programs and orders, be our own market maker, and make sure that those programs and projects which have been already inducted into the country, into the services, continually get orders. Akash is a good example, Pinaka is another example, BrahMos is another example. Quickly these orders have to come out and they need to be moved forward into the industry. There, another intervention and a policy intervention is required. Because when DPSUs get orders from the MOD, they get all kinds of advances, they get ERV, and many a time when it flows down into the tire-eyes industry, it does not happen. I mean, the same courtesies must be brought into the defense industrial base. We are all partners in that. So very clearly, there has to be a policy guidelines issued by the Department of Defense Production to all their DPSUs that these, at least to Tier 1 and Tier 2 vendors, these courtesies will be extended. Point number 2, market maker. For market, we have market and transparency, we have DPM, Defense Procurement Manual, and two of those manuals. For the market maker role, where is the procedure, where is the market? We need to have that in place. We need to have very clearly articulated indigenous contents from the government. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now request Shri Muralidhar Rao, our National General Secretary, Bharatiya Janata Party, to please come forward and address the audience. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please. Welcome, sir.
Honorable Raksha Mantri Ji, Shri Manohar Parrikar Ji, इस अवसर पर मंच पर उपस्थित जो यहाँ के आयोजक आज दिन भर के कार्यक्रम के, उसमें उदय इंडिया, श्री दीपक रथ, ASSOCHAM से रावत जी, राहुल चौधरी जी, विशंबर दयाल जी, प्रत्युष जी और इस सभागार में उपस्थित दिन भर से चर्चा में भाग लिए सभी प्रतिनिधि। Again, it may be seen as a repetition, but I am tempted to say again, the organizers have to be congratulated. They have taken lot of efforts. And the organizers also not one. They have come together because the issue is very important. So the issue is very important, not for you, me alone.